Feeling my way through the darkness.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. We're going to have an exciting sales meeting today, so let's get started. All right, let's get going here. We've got coming up trainings. We've got EH Boot Camp. Set up your website today. We have Bunko tonight. Who's coming to Bunko? Who else? Come on, somebody else got to come to Bunko. Just three of us? I heard there was 20 signed up. Is there three in here? Wow.
Maybe they're just not here.
I guess. I'm curious to see what Bunko is. I'm very curious. Okay, tomorrow we have the EH Boot Camp with Marky with Kirsten Souza here. Goal tracking on Friday. Pump Your Production Mastermind on Monday. This is for you new agents who want to get your production going. It's going to be like a mini bowl, if you will. So we definitely want you guys to come to that. And we're going to have a quick start with Kirsten, purchase agreement with Ed Morton, and validity and positioning with Hector Martinez at 1:30. Where's Hector at? Late again. And he's supposed to teach our time blocking class, so give him a hard time. He did not show up for that time blocking class. And nor is he here right now. All right. So when he comes in, where's Hector? Where's Hector?
He was in the lobby with a client.
Oh, okay, okay. Excused. All right. Please turn off your cell phones. Let's welcome back Carlos Hernandez. Welcome back, Carlos. Back there. Trying to be a shy guy back there. All right. I do not know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry.
Ciara.
Ciara. That's the most creative spelling that I've ever seen. I love it. Deanna Davis out in Hanford. She joined our Hanford office. So welcome, Deanna. George Lopez joined our Tulare office, so welcome, George Lopez. Not the George Lopez, but George Lopez. All right. Jorge, George. Jorge. I said it in English for you, Darren, so that's why. All right, Bunko tonight. Again, Bunko tonight. $10. Come in. The money goes to KW Care. It's going to be a fun night. It's right here, 4:30 to 6:30. So please join us. All right, Red Day. We have Red Day coming up, May 14th. That's only about 2.5 weeks away. If I take up my, okay, yeah, about 2.5 weeks away. All right. All right. Now, I'd like to bring up Jillian Boss, Darren Kong, Carlos Hernandez, and Eric Anderson for our listing panel. When I call your name, that means come up to the front.
Where's your name?
All right. Boy, girl.
What?
Boy, girl.
We're fine.
Yeah, we didn't rehearse the seating, sorry.
It's like high school. All the guys are on one side, all the girls on the other side.
I would like to point out that none of you are wearing denim for Denim Day.
I didn't know.
Denim
Day.
No, I didn't.
Denim Day.
Says who? Some calendar somewhere.
It's worldwide supporting for sexual abuse victims.
Okay, now you just took it down.
I'm not very vulnerable.
All right, so this is going to be a listing panel on listings, on how to get listings, how to set the expectation, listing appointments, so on and so forth. So first, let me start off with Darren. How long have you been in real estate?
God. Since before I had hair.
Okay. So 2 weeks?
Yeah. 22 years now.
22 years?
Yeah.
Eric, how long have you been in real estate?
2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I'll do the math.
I've been licensed for 8 years, but I was 4 days old in the escrow office, so I grew up in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
2008, just when the market got really good. That's when
Yeah.
I started. So about 7 years.
All right.
Best time to learn.
Now, Darren, are you a listing agent or a buyer agent?
See, now I understand this panel.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't understand last one, but I understand this panel.
You better have a listing panel. You better put me on it.
I'm a listing agent for sure. Yeah.
And why is that? Why do you say that? Why do you prefer to be a listing agent?
Number one, I don't like to work weekends.
Okay.
And number two, I discovered a long time ago that if I'm gone either at a seminar or on vacation or whatever, or just laying somewhere drunk. But anyways, one of my own listings can actually sell even though I'm not there. And I like to take advantage. I like the control. I like to be able to control inventory, and I'm kind of a control freak. It's the Asian in me, but that's why I like it, because it's easier. I like dealing with sellers a lot better than dealing with buyers.
Eric, same question.
Yeah, I'd say listing side mainly. Just from a control and predictability, you can predict your business better. If you're just you know, buyers are going to come and you'll do your best to get them, but it's not really a good way to predict your business. So you control the listings, you can control your business a little bit better. And I also like trying to control market share as much as possible. So more signs, more market share. So yeah, mostly listings. Yeah.
Hollis?
Mostly listings, but I do work with buyers as a way to continue to build my referral network. I do a lot of referral business, and so if I turn them down or I pass them off to somebody else, I will lose them for future business.
Jillian, same question.
Listings only, and the reason for that is because I feel that I can sell, you know, I can do more transactions if they're only listings versus working with buyers. And I think the important thing is if you're only going to focus on listings, to make sure you have a really great person on your team who is really, really good at working with buyers. And also, I love when you have listings is you get credit for all your hard work. You know, you have the sign in front, and you get the credit for, you know, selling the property with the neighbors. So I like being able to get that credit because, you know, buyer's agents work really hard too, but, you know, people oftentimes don't know that they're the ones who actually came in and did most of the work to sell the property.
Good point.
Right.
I want to add on to that.
Add on to that, Darren.
That as a listing agent, you actually get paid what you're worth. Okay, because when you are working as a selling agent, you get paid whatever that listing agent says you get paid. And a lot of agents out there these days, I guess they think they're only worth, you know, 4 or 5%, because I see a lot of 2 and 2.5% out there, CSO, right, which is absurd, but whatever. As a listing agent, you control your commission, so therefore you get paid what you're worth.
Right.
Okay. All right. Now, the reason I have such a diverse group of individuals up here is because they all generate business differently. And there's no one right way, but there's a way to do it for everyone. So how do you generate your leads for getting listings, Darren?
You know, I discovered this Easter egg on the phone. Did you guys know that the phones actually make outgoing calls too? It doesn't just actually, the calls don't just come in, right? So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm on the phones, you know, got my 2 phones going, or got my Mojo going,
And Mojo's an actual program.
More ways than one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I could have my computer Mojo going, but my real estate Mojo may be at home still. But, you know. So basically, I'm on the phones calling, you know, expireds, FSBOs, past clients, just lists, just solds, dialing the phone.
Yeah.
Eric?
And I share a wall with him, so I'm always listening to him.
Yeah.
Trying to pick up on what is his success. But mine is, I'd say, predominantly internet and past clients and client referrals, or referrals and the internet a lot, heavily.
How do you cultivate those past clients? Is there a system you use to keep in touch with those past clients?
Yeah, I'm not as good as Jillian with this stuff, with sending notes and stuff. She's really good about
None of us are
the soft touches. But, so everyone gets dumped into e-edge. It doesn't matter who they are, past clients, future clients, anyone. So at least they're always hearing from me in some form or another, so I can stay top of mind. I try and friend my clients too on Facebook, just so we can, you know, stay close that way. And I really should call more than I should. Just pick up the phone and ask them how they're doing and talk to them. But so I don't do that as well. But at least they're getting information from me through at least online or through e-edge or something like that.
Okay, thank you. Hollis?
So a lot of referrals, a lot of social networking, not just social media networking, but also social events. I am heavily involved with FoodLink. I'm heavily involved with my Rotary Club. So I get a lot of referrals from both of those sources. I have fostered some relationships with some local attorneys, and I get referrals that way. And it helps that one's my brother, but he does refer to other agents too, to make it fair.
How is that fair?
Well, he feels like it's conflict. He feels like it's conflict. Yeah, a lot of, and then social media. I'm really big on Facebook, and I probably overshare, but people, when I get in front of them, people feel like they know me, and I'm already their best friend. So
and thing 1 and thing 2, they know thing 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thing 2,
Yeah.
and Cindy Lou Who. They know all of my kids. They don't know their real names,
That's good that you
but
protect them.
but they do know all about me and all about my family, so they feel very connected. And those are the types of people that I like to work with, so it works well for me.
Okay. Jillian?
I like to leverage all of that basically to, you know, a 33 touch, 8x8s, and 12 directs.
Okay.
So I think that it's a great program. I mean, Keller Williams provides all that stuff for you, so you don't have to create it or think it up all on your own. I tweak it a little bit. I'm always kind of modifying it a little, but I love the idea of having those automatic systems in place, like Darren said earlier, so that you can be on a beach somewhere or at home or doing anything really, and all of that stuff is still happening without me having to put forth an effort to do it. So I leverage all of my communication to those systems.
I also use eEdge, but it's so
Yeah.
push the button and forget it that I
Yeah,
forget that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
All four of you use eEdge, don't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
At minimum,
I didn't know it was called 33 touch. I just called it yeah.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, she's like telling us, oh, I'm in 33 touch. I'm like, what's 33 touch? I don't know what that is. That's eEdge. Oh, okay. I think
I'm doing that, I think. All right, Darren. When you get that listing lead, how do you pre-qualify that lead?
I have an 11-question script that's right in front of my phone, so I know exactly what I'm going to ask them, and you're basically just checking them to make sure that you want to go on that appointment. I mean, you're pre-qualifying them. Imagine going to the doctor and then not having an x-ray done. Well, that's like going to a listing appointment and not having your pre-qualification done. If you don't do your pre-qualification before you go out there, that'd be going to the doctor and just saying, okay, go ahead and cut me open and figure it out while you're in there, okay? So that's what you're doing. So you're checking for, you know, price, motivation, whether they can afford it or not, you know, all those kind of things.
All right. Eric?
yeah, pretty much the same thing. Just really looking for a motivation, how quickly they want to move, where they're moving to, and trying to get a discussion as far as early on what they think their house is going to go for, what they want to get for their house. Because if it comes up later and you're in the listing appointment and they want, you know, double what you think it's going to be worth, then it's dead on arrival. And actually I learned that lesson really early. One time I went on a listing appointment and I was starting out, and the house was maybe worth $250, $290, and we sat down at the table, had everything ready, it was perfect. I was going through it, and we get down to price, and I said, well, you know, let's talk about price, and here's my comps, and they said basically, well, we want $500,000 for this house. And I was just like, sorry, it's not going to happen. And I just tried to get out there as fast as I could. It was a complete waste of time. Complete waste of time. But I learned my lesson that you got to pre-qualify them up front. Even on price, trying to get as much information. Ask them what they owe on the house to see if it can even work. So.
Wallace?
Same thing. You've got to know when they want to move, why they want to move, and how much they want, what they owe. Because if they can't sell it, I don't really like to do short sales. I only do short sales for friends and
SOI, past clients.
And past clients, but I'm not going after short sales. They're too much of a hassle for me, and Stephanie doesn't like me.
Jillian, how about you?
I can totally relate to what Eric said. I did make that mistake early on in my career, and
Don't worry, it's only the two of you. None of us have ever done that.
I did take them for the purpose of basically using them to like lead generate the heck off of, you know, the listing, even though it wasn't going to sell, to get other business. But now I feel like as I've gotten older and, you know, more productive, and, you know, I got kids at home, you know, my time is that much more valuable.
Right.
So I feel, you know, if I'm going to take a listing, I want to make sure that it's one that's going to sell, because I just don't want to waste my time like that anymore. So
Right.
asking those questions like Darren said on the phone, you know, what's your timeline, what's your motivation, why, I want to know that up front.
Okay. And Jillian, what tools do you use to prep for that appointment?
Well, as like we kind of discussed this yesterday, I go and I do my CMA and I print it out and I throw it in the listing presentation and I'm out the door. So I can prepare for a listing presentation in about 10, 15 minutes at the most. And that's because I have my listing presentation stacked and ready to go. All we do is just update the market update every single month that goes inside, and that's it. That way I can, you know, go on the fly to a listing appointment.
And what's the most beneficial piece of the market update that you found to be useful in your presentation?
My favorite part of the market update is there's a two pages, two different slides that show the price range, the activity in each price range.
Yeah.
So that when you go on an appointment, whether it's in the $200,000 price range or the $500,000 plus, you can show them, you know, you can't be comparing the two price ranges, they're apples and oranges.
Sure.
So letting them know, you know,
Setting the expectation.
setting that expectation up front.
Hollis, what do you do to prepare for your appointment? You have a two-step process, don't you?
Yeah, if I have time and, you know, I'm not going later that day on the appointment, I do send out a pre-listing package that introduces them to me. It has questions for them that they can fill out. Mostly they never do. Occasionally they do, and when they do, it's really helpful. And I also include the listing contract highlighted and ready for them to sign. Occasionally I've also had them have that in hand and hand it to me when I get to the door. That makes for an easy listing presentation because you don't have to do it. Yeah. And then when I go out, I have a listing package, and I'm just using the ones on eEdge. Actually, we're switching now to the Michael Lewis Marketing Suite one because it's way prettier. And I have the listing contracts and the disclosures in hand, along with the CMA, and that's it.
Okay. Eric?
Pretty much the same thing. A CMA, my listing presentation from eEdge, which has been heavily modified to suit our needs, and certainly the graphs, the market updates, I share those. But what's interesting though now is that for at least online, I mentioned this yesterday, but for online, a lot of the times buyers and sellers are already doing the research up front on you. They're already checking you out, and sometimes I get a phone call and they've already checked me out and they know they want to use me. So it's the listing presentation is done and they call me. It's like, come list my house. We read about you. We know who you are now, and let's just get it done. So, and those are happening more frequently now. So, which I'm fine with that. It's easier. We just go in there and we
Faster appointment.
Faster appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Darren, what do you prepare?
Well, to prepare, first we try to drop off a pre-list package before I ever get there. So that'll have the marketing information, and then usually the graphs as well, the market. Basically all the stuff they're bringing, we try to send over there before I ever get there. And then also the contract and disclosures all highlighted where they sign and whatnot.
So your goal is probably to have all their questions answered before you even walk in the door with that pre-listing package.
Absolutely right. I mean, I've actually gone on appointments where I've knocked on the door and they've answered the door and then they hand me the contract signed.
Nice.
And it's a 30-second appointment. It's like, well, great, thank you. Do you have a key for me? You do. Excellent. Appreciate it.
Sign will be up later today.
Do any of you use RPR in your listing presentations?
You just introduced that to me, and I'm trying to figure it out because if you do the full RPR, the damn thing's 75 pages long. Holy cow!
That's way too big.
Yeah, so you got to weed out all the extra stuff on there. But I mean, it's a very cool program. It's really neat. I just haven't figured it out yet. But
RPR is Realtor Property Resource, for those of you who don't know. If you go in the MLS, there's a button on the don't tell anybody? Okay, never mind,
Yeah.
take that back. Yeah. Also, keep it a secret. All right. All right, Darren, take me through that appointment. What's that appointment look like when you're sitting down with them?
well, I'm standing.
Okay, when you're standing.
So I mean, I try to stand most of the time, and it basically you go in and I'm completely scripted from beginning to end. It just makes it easier if I don't have to think about it that much. That way I can concentrate on what they're saying instead of what I need to say next. Believe it or not, the more scripted you are, the better you'll actually listen. That sounds counterintuitive, but that's the reality of it, okay? Because you're not trying to create on the fly. So go in there, I do my presentation. It's got either a 1 minute or a 15-minute presentation, depending on how they answer the questions, and that's pretty much it,
Eric, I think you guys all have a script in some form of way, so you guys all know where you're going there. What's your...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as scripted as Darren, and it also depends on the feedback that I've gotten on the phone, the conversations we've had on the phone about the appointment. So I know already, if they're ready to go, they don't even mess around, just go in there and sign the thing. And many times we don't even get to listing presentation, but from the get-go, I'm looking at the documents. I'm looking to close. From the moment I walk in, it's like, let's go to close. So if I can go straight to close and not mess around with showing graphs and other things to sell my value, then we'll just go straight to close. But I might need to get into my presentation a little bit and add value and say, here's what I'm going to do. I might have to do that.
Depends on their behavioral profile.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Paulus?
I asked them if they had a chance to go through the pre-listing package, and if they say no, then I kind of go over my listing presentation with them. But I read each one of them because some want you to go through that whole spiel, but most don't, especially if they're I's or D's. The I's want to talk to you,
Right.
which makes my listing presentation 2 hours long. because,
And
you
it's
know,
not even
my
about-
eye
it's not even
gets,
about the listing.
it's not even
Yeah.
about the listing.
Let me tell you about thing one and thing two.
Yeah, and then, but the Ds just want it, they want it signed and done. Those are the ones that'll open the door and go, here you go. I want the sign up on this day. They literally tell you what they want and when they want it. It just depends on the person.
Okay. Jillian?
I agree. I think it really depends on who, you know, it's very important to know your audience. I think you can tell when they first call you or
Yeah.
you call them, you know, who you're going to be working with, what kind of behavior style they're going to be. I consider a really successful listing appointment to be one where you go there, you list the house, you take pictures, and you never go to that house again. Like that's my that's my behavior. But like that is like a successful listing appointment and listing when you get everything done up front, the house sells, and you never have to go. And
You take the photos when you're there?
Yeah.
Do you bring a camera with you? I mean, do you use your cell phone or do
Oh
you?
no, my camera's in the back of my car, ready
Okay.
to go. All
Okay.
times. Yeah,
All right.
so that's a really good appointment right there. If that happens, it does happen.
Okay,
Not as much as I'd like it to, but I think
You
that would
take
be
better
great.
pictures than I
It's the
do.
house value.
Yes, I
You
think
gotta have
that's
that
great.
conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to stage it, right.
All right, Darren, so what if they try to negotiate the commission with you? What's your response to negotiating the commission?
No, any other questions?
Yeah. I usually charge 7.
There's more to that, isn't there?
No. Any other I mean, no. Or, I mean, it depends. Thankfully, I don't really get asked that a lot. I mean, we all get it asked it, of course, but because sometimes they'll ask when I'm pre-qualifying, you know, what's your commission, and then I'll tell them it's completely negotiable. You have to discuss that when we get together. Then we go through the presentation. Okay, so what's your commission? Well, you know, it's 6% with the $4.95 fee. And they'll say, okay, well, I thought you said it was negotiable. Well, it is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop me when you're comfortable. You know, and they'll go, oh, 6 is okay. And you can do that actually if you drop off your contract in your pre-list package, just under the commissions part, put 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then write circle 1. Okay? Yeah, so they'll save you some trouble.
Now, what if they want to price above what it's worth? How do you handle that? Going back to you and then we'll go back down.
Again, you just handle the objection. It depends. You can go back to their motivation. And I mean, there's so many different ways that you can handle if they want to, because everybody wants to overprice.
Yeah.
Right? So first thing I'm thinking is that if they want to overprice, even after I've done my presentation, then I screwed up on my presentation. Because if you do the presentation the right way, they should actually be picking a price lower than the one that you've got in your head in the first place, if you did it the right way. So, but you can't really answer that without knowing what the situation is with their motivation on how you want to handle that.
Okay. Eric?
Right, I just always fall back on the data. I fall back on my CMA, and this is what the neighborhood's selling for. The market dictates this. I don't dictate it. You can't dictate it. I understand that you may want, you know, $500,000 for your home, but that's not going to happen. And even if you were to get that, it's not going to appraise. So whatever the number they're throwing out is. So we have to live in reality with the data that we have. If for some reason that they do want to try a little bit higher than where I think, we might take that listing under the condition that they're going to reduce it in a short amount of time if we don't get the action that we want in the house. So we'll set the expectation like, here's where we think it's going to sell, and Mr. Seller, if you really want to try that, okay, I'll play along maybe for a little bit, a couple weeks, and then you need to come back down to reality. We're going to try your game, so they at least feel like, hey, well, you know, I tried it.
And you can put that on the contract, by the way, right on page 1. You know, that a property does not receive an acceptable offer within the first 14 days, price to be reduced to this amount, and then you don't have to actually send in an amendment because they've already got it on the contract.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. Go back over the CMA. Okay, I understand that this is what you want for your house, but what are we seeing here that is telling you that your home is worth so much more than other homes in the neighborhood? And you know, I just had one that actually sold in 6 days. I had an agreement with the seller. She wanted to list it at $325. I was like, there's no way. This is out in Oak Ranch. Nothing is sold over $3 in Oak Ranch. Sold it in 6 days for $305. So I got to eat my words a little bit, but I was happy. Made me more money, made her more money. But she had agreed to a price reduction to $299 in 14 days if we didn't have an offer. And that's the only way I'm taking them overpriced is
Okay.
if they're agreeing.
Right.
Julian?
I agree. Managing the expectations is very important. That way you're not just whacking them over the head, you know, in 2 weeks. But I always really put it on the market. It's not me. I think your fixer-upper is gorgeous. It's not me. I don't think it's worth, you know, only $190. But the market, unfortunately, does think it's only worth $190.
Darn that market.
So,
I'm afraid of what those evil appraisers are going to
yeah,
say.
it's not me. It's the market. The
And
market.
what are some talking points you can use to create the urgency to sell their homes today?
The sooner your house sells, the more money you're going to get for it.
And why is that?
Because the longer a house sits on the market, people start asking me questions. Jillian, why hasn't this house sold? Is something wrong with it? I kind of go down that path.
Same thing. Right now, interest rates are low and buyers are buying, and there's just not enough inventory. That's today's script, but it changes every season and every.
Yeah, it's depending on what month you're in or where it's at. So.
And right now, I mean, inventory is under 2 months in Visalia, so it's like 1.2 or something like that, so it's pretty low.
And if they want to move before the new school year, they need to sell now.
Right.
Right.
And what if they tell you?
And if they want to avoid the summer slowdown like we had last year, they need to get it on the market this week.
And what if they tell you, well, I'm going to wait to see, I know you have an answer, I want to wait to see if my house appreciates, maybe in 6 months or 10 months. What's your take on that, Darren? How do you handle that?
If they think their home is, well, then we'd be going back to their motivation in the first place.
Right.
And if their motivation wasn't high enough, I probably wouldn't be in their house.
Right.
Yeah.
Eric?
Well, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We only know what's going to happen, what's happening right now. We don't know if rates are going to increase, which they probably are. And Darren's got a great script for that, but I just say we don't know the future. We only know right now. It's a big gamble you're going to do, waiting in case rates could go up, buyers could die off. Who knows? I don't know. Inventory could increase.
Same
thing.
Yeah.
I like using scary words like risk, gamble, my fear for you. You know,
if interest rates go up, which they likely will, what's that do to the buyer pool? What they can afford?
Right.
Right.
Your interest rates are going up. Everybody knows interest rates are going up, just like gas prices, right? They're not going to stay down here. So as interest rates are going up, your buyer pool is going to decrease, and if your buyer pool decreases and the supply increases because everybody puts their home on the market in the spring and the summer, what do you think is going to happen to prices?
It's soften.
So how much longer can you afford to wait? Right?
And if they hope that they get appreciation, what's that going to do for them when they go buy another home in a higher interest rate and higher
Yeah,
price?
they're just going to be moving to the next house.
Yeah, they're going to be spending another extra $70,000, $80,000 in interest in the
Right.
All right. All right. Post-listing plan. So when you leave that appointment, you have the listing signed. What's your plan of action, Jill?
well, we have an entire checklist, so everything happens systematically every single time. Yeah, we market the property, sign up, flyers up, social media, postcards, phone calls start, the whole thing.
And that
Same
happens
every
in the
time.
course of how many?
24 hours.
24
Once we have
hours.
photos, the property can be on the market in 24 hours. It's up to them, the seller, whenever they're ready to start, having showings, but we can have it done within 24 hours. And it's the same system for every single property.
It depends on the house. If I'm doing my Twilight open houses, it goes on the market the following Thursday. First text message goes to the sign guy to get the coming soon sign up. Second text message goes to Lynn Learned to get the pictures photographed or pictures scheduled. And then when the pictures come in, I get 100 open house invitations out to, 100 flyer invitations out to the neighbors. And then it goes immediately onto social media as a coming soon. Normally it's a picture of a door. And also I do a social media invite to the open house to realtors and all of my SOI. And that's pretty much it. Obviously Blockbox goes up and all of that, but it's sign and pictures are scheduled within 20 minutes of me leaving.
Nice. So you have a system as well. Mine, Eric?
Yeah, very similar, especially to Jillian. It's just, like she said, we flip a switch. When do you want to go? We're ready to go like ASAP. You tell us when we can go and we'll have everything done. And the camera's always in the car. So we take the pictures and then come back, get everything ready, post it online, social, postcards go out. It's a system.
Okay. Darren?
Same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, except I don't take pictures there. I kind of dig that idea, actually. Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's so
So,
fast.
commonality.
I kinda
Everybody has
like
a
that.
system. Everybody has a plan of action right after they leave that appointment. There's a motion, action that's set in motion right immediately after calling. All right. So, do you guys have any questions for the panel? I'd like to open up a question. Go ahead, Paul.
When you're pricing the largest house in the neighborhood, what formula do you use for that? I've been told that the price per square foot goes out the window.
I think you have to look at both.
Yeah.
The total price and also price per square foot.
I ask Bill, and if he tells me I'm way overpriced, I drop it down a little bit. But if he's like, yeah, you're a little overpriced, then I know I'm right there.
I'm trying to quit asking Bill.
Are there any other questions?
I have two actually. Do any of you ever take the net sheet when you're listing?
Oh, good question.
Good question.
I do,
You do?
every time. Yeah.
And my second question is, have any of you ever thought of doing the avid at the same time you list?
It's in the disclosure packet, and if I can do it, if there's time and it allows, I can do it.
Well, they're filling out the TDS or something.
Yeah, exactly. And usually during that time, when I'm giving them the stack of disclosures, I start taking pictures. I'm like, okay, you work on this, I'm gonna go take pictures. So if time allows, I'll go do the avid as well, because I, like Jillian, I want to come back and do another visit.
Connie?
I have to ask it staging,
Staging, yes, absolutely.
depending on the property.
Depending on the property. Absolutely. Piece of Cake has helped me in more ways than I can count with 2 recent
So the value,
listings.
the cost.
Oh,
for
yeah.
the
We got an over asking price offer within 3 hours of one of my listings, and it's because of Lynn's amazing pictures and Piece of Cake staging. And they probably made $30,000 more than what I could have gotten them if they hadn't staged it.
The script for staging is from Connie Couts. It's cheaper than a price reduction.
Yes.
And I've used
There you go.
it.
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
it's Connie's script.
That's a great script.
That is.
That is a great steal.
Yes. Jordan, you have a question?
Yeah, how soon do you do an open house after a new listing?
I do it the day I put it on the market. I schedule it the day I put it on the market
We're talking
is
about your Thursday.
Thursdays.
Yeah.
I put all of my houses on the market on Thursdays so that I can do a twilight open house from 5:30 to 6:30. I bring in wine and hors d'oeuvres and invite neighbors, and I allow the homeowner to stay. It's the only open house I let them stay for because they can meet their neighbors. It eliminates the nosy neighbor calling on your sign and acting like a legitimate buyer, even though they're not. And it helps get people through. It's that theory of the pebble into a pond. Every wave just keeps going out and out. And neighbors know people who want to move in to the neighborhood. So that's why I do that.
Any other questions? Gary?
Yeah, just piggybacking off of what you're talking about with staging and when you go to the listing to take pictures. Do you find that sometimes obviously, oh, I don't want to take pictures today, you don't
Yes.
tell them that?
Oh,
yeah.
You say, okay, we need to go ahead and do this for the house.
I think that's part of your pre-listing packet, that you set the expectations of what needs to be done before you go to market.
Yeah, if the house isn't ready to photograph, then it's, we need to schedule an appointment, darn, I gotta come back second time or whatever.
I mean, most of the time, the sellers are going to have their home pretty tidy. They know somebody's coming by to look at it and sell it. They're going to want to make sure the home's putting on its best face. But even then, they'll still have their ping pong table in the living room. So
And I do go through and I tell them you need to take this off the walls. I don't want them there.
And actually, they want to know. They trust you. They're going to ask you, and you need to tell them what's acceptable and what's not.
And I do occasionally go out for a pre-listing appointment. If they say, I need to know from you what I need to do first before I put the house on the market, and that's when I bring Piece of Cake's information, and because that's when you tell them to stage, and that's when you tell them to repaint the teal trim and fun things like that. Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions for the panel? No? Well, thank you so much. So you guys should be definitely talking to your SOI right now. Social media posts about interest rates, about buyer affordability, about seasonality, about low inventory. So they're thinking about selling, they need to look at it selling now. So you need to post on your Facebook, you need to call your SOI and tell them why they're waiting if they're thinking about selling. All right? You guys gonna do that when you leave here? Yes?
Yes.
Yes? Say yes. Yes. All right. Troy. Come on up, bud.
Not a chance.
I hope
seconds.
Not a chance. Hey, I don't know how many of you know this, but I played baseball for 9 years.
Oh.
And yeah, 9 years. I was a perennial all-star. I had a 367 batting average, and 3 of the players. No, well, I was hitting the head, but that was because I was a catcher.
Super Nintendo.
And they would go like this when I'm talking trash. Yeah. So, anyway.
Wii Sports does not count, Troy. That doesn't count using the Wii.
Oh, I've never used a Wii. But when I got out of college, I decided to go to the batting cages and show the young kids how it works. And so I went into the fast pitch, the super fast pitch cage, you know. And I'm standing there, and it goes like this. Thunk, and it hits the thing behind it. Oh, good thing I wasn't standing forward. I better move back. It took me $3 before I finally put a bat on one. All right? The point of this story is that a lot of times we want to get, it's all reactionary. Baseball is completely reactionary, and it happens that fast. So does life. So does a listing appointment, by the way. If you guys think that you're going to go on a listing appointment and be able to react to the questions that are presented to you and be able to overcome objections that you've never practiced overcoming, you're going to go on a lot of listing appointments. It's going to cost you a lot more than $3 to finally put a bat on one listing, right? So they have a saying in bold that you can either practice in here or you can practice on your clients, but that's a lot more expensive. Right? Yep. So our classes should be full all the time because you need to take batting practice every day. That's if you want to have a decent batting average when you go out on your listing appointments. Okay? It is. It's completely like muscle reflex. All right? These people, they don't have to think about overcoming objections. They overcome the objection. They're like, oh, good. I'm glad you tossed me that pitch. I was expecting a fastball. Yeah. Right? And that's why I hit it out of here. Do you want to ask about the commission? Because a lot of people want to ask about commission. Go ahead and ask me about commission. I hope you throw that one right down the middle because I'm hitting it out of here. Right? In other words, you're ready for it. So be at our training. I don't care if you've gone to 100 listing appointments already this year. Go to our training. You're going to pick stuff up and you're going to be better at your profession. I want to just bring up real quick, a lot of people don't know, but there is an EPA Phase 2 certified requirement on wood-burning stoves. If you list a house that has a wood-burning stove that was built before 1990, July 1, 1990, so if you've got a house that's got an old wood stove in it, what's the requirement on that wood stove? Removal. It's removed or rendered inoperable prior to close. Okay, so you will want to disclose that to your buyers, that wood stove is going to be removed. You'll also want to talk to your sellers. Hey, that's a beautiful wood stove. You know how old it is? Right? Okay. And it has to be removed or rendered inoperable. All right. And this form is going to be put in your in the dot loop. Right? Did I say it right? Google Docs.
It'll show up somewhere.
It'll be somewhere on the line. Okay? So you will have it in there. I have it in all my listing presentations because I want to make sure that it reminds me to look for a wood-burning stove or an insert, a wood-burning insert.
What was the date on that again? 1980?
July 1, 1990. Okay, so that will be in there. It's also, you're supposed to, sellers are required to complete this form whenever a wood-burning stove or insert is included with the property. A copy shall be mailed or faxed to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District within 30 days of close of escrow.
We'll send a copy out so you guys can read it.
Yeah. All right?
All right.
Okay, so that will be on there. So go fight, sell.
All right, thank you, Troy. All right, next I think we have Barb coming up instead of Asa. Barb,
yeah, we switched.
Okay, we switched. All right, come on up. Let's welcome Barb Rosito from Country Club Marketing.
In consideration of time, just I have a couple important things. One, obviously, we talked about it. You heard it this morning. Rates are ticking up, so make sure that your buyers get locked in. Don't know if we'll see the recovery, but right now they are edging up. So if you are close to closing, make sure your buyer has locked in their interest rate. Two, we had our awards for our company, our production awards a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's really important that we acknowledge Keller Williams for being a huge part of our success. We want to personally thank you for the business that you've sent to us. it's been a great honor to form these relationships and have new ones growing. And it's important that we let you know that we are very, very grateful and look forward to more of that. On another note, Rachel, I'm going to kind of catch you off guard here, but we've got some major changes coming August 1. I know Chicago touched on it a little bit. We've got the new disclosures. We are doing away with the GFE. We are doing good faith estimate. We are doing away with the truth in lending. They are coming out with two new disclosure forms. One is coming up front that we have to present to the borrower within 3 days of having a valid application. An application to us is name, address, social, not a property. That is name, address, social. So I'm not sure how we're going to work through that yet. But the most important one is going to be the closing disclosure. No more are we going to be able to last minute get the file into underwriting, get the docs the next day, fund the following day. That's not going to happen anymore, August 1. We are going to have to issue a closing disclosure to the buyer, and it must be absolutely accurate, meaning.
Will you do that as a lender? Or will
Yes.
that be, okay. Yes.
We do it. We have a huge responsibility coming our way with these changes, because if we screw up, then your buyer is not going to close on time, because we have to stop, redisclose. They have to have a 3-day cooling off period. No more.
I'm sorry. And that disclosure is your fee. So can escrow still pad? Can the recording fees? This is your fees, or this is
everybody's. Everybody's, and they must be accurate. There isn't any room anymore.
Well, what if we don't know what your recording fees are going to be?
We're going to do the best we can, because the regulators have given us this much tolerance level. It's very serious. It's important that you as agents communicate with us any changes in the transaction, a sales price change, fees, seller, buyer being paid, because we have to go back, redisclose, and every time there's a cooling off period. So we're hoping that we can do these in 30 days, but it's going to look like, until we get this under our belt and get some experience, we're going to be looking at 45-day escrows.
Didn't CAR come out with something that I heard on the longer closing time frames?
I haven't heard anything.
And we're going to have a class on this.
Yeah, we're going to have a class, Rachel.
Oh, okay. That was
I need you to be on board.
Sure.
At what point is it disclosed?
Right before we go to docs.
Before, so after
3 days.
underwriting,
After
underwriting.
After underwriting.
Before docs. 3 days.
So Barbara, a price reduction, you have to redisclose, not the 3-day before, but you have to redisclose all of her?
Well, no, not so much if the terms to the loan change, not so much the price change, but if you change your price, then we have to change the loan amount.
Right.
So we're going to be redisclosing anything that affects APR, fees. So it's going to be really important, because we're not going to have a closing HUD anymore. The HUD has gone bye-bye, and now it is a new closing disclosure generated by the lender. So we aren't going to be able to call up Rachel anymore and say, hey, send over an estimated HUD, and then we can play with those fees like we do and add in a seller credit or a lender credit. It's going to have to be dialed in right to the penny right before we go to docs. Am I right, Barb?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll have a class on it. You guys need to attend, because it's going to affect all of us. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Bye.
Hector, thanks for joining us. See, you made it. Yeah, our time blocking expert. All right, now we bring up Josh Nauman. Is that pretty close? Nauman. Okay, Josh. No, he's from the City of Isaiah Water Conservation. So he's going to speak about conserving water. There you go.
All right. So, real quick, the reason why I'm coming to you guys is because I see all of your faces all over town, on signs, everywhere. So, I actually bought my house through Judy, and Hollis was the selling agent.
So, that's why I recognize your name.
We like you, Josh.
So you guys Keller Williams is huge in this area, and it's really important to us that we get some information out to you guys. So what I'm talking about is low water use landscapes. And City of Visalia, regardless of what your opinions of it are, have really strict water regulations going on right now. A lot of them are top down from the state, but the city has had some of the most strict water regulations for the last almost 20 years now, more strict than almost any other county. And what we're really trying to push is drought tolerant landscaping. So it's going to be kind of, thank you, it's going to be kind of, we're trying to get away from the gigantic green and move into something that's more native, more drought tolerant, basically landscapes that require little to no water to maintain throughout the year. A little bit to get them established, but almost nothing. I'm going to show you a few pictures of some houses. These are all in Visalia. They're all demonstration gardens. The homeowners have, while we're driving around giving out tickets, which is what I do almost every single day. I'm that guy.
What do you drive?
We also have that little white Prius that's got all the bird droppings on it because we're not allowed to wash our cars. That's what I drive.
Oh, okay, that's me.
We see houses like this, we stop and make contact with the owner and say, hey, can we feature your house on our website? So all these pictures are also on Visalia's, our department's website. This one has just a really nice rock garden with some native plants in front. Cactus is old school drought tolerant, but it's really important to know that this is not the way it has to be anymore. It's not just rock and cactus, which is ugly. We all, I mean, in a lot of places, it's kind of like
Hollis's house.
No, that's not, but it's really close to some that I've sold. That is actually another client's house.
This is another one. This is all drought tolerant plants. During the springtime, all of these will have flowers. The grasses on the bottom here are all bunch grasses. They require almost no water throughout the year. And there's even variations of those that look like a regular lawn, but require watering like once a month. So there's really cool stuff there. This one is very native. It's just kind of bare ground. You can see the old oaks. There's even some fruit trees in there. They've got a little creek built into it. These are the kind of places that we really like to see because they require almost no water, and they're what this area is actually for. There's so many people living in this area, and this is a desert. There was no water here to begin with. We're pulling water out of the ground. We're going deeper and deeper every month. So this is kind of what this area should look like. This is an alternative. This is turf. This is synthetic. This is basically laying carpet down in your yard. We don't like this that much because it's promoting the wrong mindset. It's promoting the big green without actually having to water it. And it's nice. It's the technology is getting better. It's very low maintenance. It's one issue with it is it gets really hot. I think I heard that. It gets really, really hot. So and it just reflects that heat back onto the house. Yeah, exactly. You can hose it down and hose it down. Yeah. That's not illegal at all. So in the packets that you guys are sitting on over there is a few different things. This is one of them. This is a pamphlet that our office has put out that is really hard to read up here. This is the other side of it. This is basically a really simple listing of drought tolerant and native plants. A lot of them are not native, but they're also not invasive. There's a big difference there. You don't want to plant drought-tolerant invasives because they will take over. But drought-tolerant and non-native plants are great because, and a lot of these are flowering plants. You can actually go up and go through it and say, okay, I want to layer my yard. I want to have some nice big bushes, flowering bushes in the back. I'm going to look at the tall shrubs, large shrubs. A lot of those have flowers on them. The different ground covers, even native trees. You have to be careful with oaks because if they get too big, then you can't cut them down. So there's big issues with oaks.
We know.
They're beautiful. I'm sure you guys know that. And that is the bulk of the presentation today. It's really quick and simple. There's a couple other, I think the other things, oh yeah, we do want to go on this because this is my life every single day. This is the new water regulations. This starts May 20th. Some really big differences is right now, if you want to plant a new yard, if you want to put in new grass, you're allowed a 21-day permit to water every single day. Coming soon though, on May 20th, we are not going to be issuing permits for new turf or overseeding.
This is a great opportunity to touch your clients and send out this information to them and give them.
Yeah. You guys are all getting a paper copy, and I have no problems. I'll email over digital copies for you guys too, especially of this one. Washing of buildings is allowed for sale and health problems.
Do you need a permit for that?
You do not need a permit, but you do need to use a high pressure washer. And we would definitely recommend that you give our office a little call and say, hey, we're going to be power washing this house for sale, because I get calls daily on this kind of stuff.
Just
people hosing down.
Yeah, just
people
call Cal Water?
Yeah, no, I am not Cal Water.
Just call who?
City of Visalia. And our number's on the bottom of all this information. That's a really big thing. A lot of people call Cal Water to complain. Cal Water really doesn't do anything about it. Because they, and it's a marketing thing for them. They're not going to tell their customers not to use a product that they're selling. So.
I have a question about the 21-day
Sure.
new plant
Establishment permit?
What about new construction?
New construction is required to get one of these.
But what about during the months where you just said we can't?
So, yeah, they are required to get one of these, and they are not going to be issued one for new turf.
So you can't put it in.
For how long? What time?
As of right now, that's not written into this ordinance. There's going to be something, I'm sure that's not going to last.
Well, yeah.
I guarantee you that's not going to last. But what's going to happen is they are working, our office is working with planning department to get all the new contractors to provide drought-tolerant alternatives. Because right now, in a new home, you have almost no say in what the yard's going to be. It's pretty much just grass. Grass or nothing. And most of the time, they don't let you do nothing. So that is, grass uses more water than anything else in the entire house, even inside. To keep the grass green, it uses more water than anything else. In the city of Visalia, over 70% of the water used residentially is used for irrigating grass.
But that goes back down into the aquifer though.
No, it takes a really, really long time, and most of it evaporates. So, the other big one is overseeding. Overseeding is really popular to green up the lawn, especially in the wintertime, and that's prohibited now completely. So we can't do that anymore. If you plant the right kind of grass, you don't need to overseed. It'll go dormant in the winter and it'll come right back in the spring. So the other information I have in there is about recycling. That's just really general stuff, really cool things to add to like a welcome home packet. This is how you recycle in the city of Visalia, that kind of stuff. I think, oh, that's it. Yeah, any other questions about that?
Swimming pools. So I'm thinking about putting a pool in, and I'm wondering maybe I shouldn't.
Personally, you shouldn't.
Okay.
Legally, you are absolutely allowed to.
Then what about filling it? And
You just have to pay for the water. The only regulations that we have for pools is how often you can drain them. You are only allowed to drain your pool once every 3 years. If there's major construction damage to it, there are exemptions to that. We just ask the company that's doing the repairs to send us over like a little work order or something that shows us what they're doing, and that way we can just keep track of it. And the main reason we have that regulation built in is because we get phone calls constantly about, 500,000 gallons going down the drain. Where is it coming from? And it's coming from a pool drain. So yeah, that's a really big one. And I'm sure Cal Water might have some deal with how often you can refill pools, because that is a big drain on the aquifer, especially new ones. So.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
And our office is totally open to questions and comments, so you can call us up anytime.
All right. Appreciate it. Right there where Jerry's standing, there's information there if you want to have more questions for him. All right, let's wish Carrie Paulo a happy birthday. Today's her birthday. She's in our Hanford office, so it's happy birthday. Tomorrow. Herbert Carter is tomorrow as well, and Hollywood Day on May 2nd. So, lessons learned from today's, can you turn the lights back on, Sergio? Lessons learned from today, from the panel. Anybody learn anything today? I hope so, please. Share, Darren, what you got?
To take photos while I'm there.
Okay.
Good idea.
Anyone else? No one learned anything else?
I learned that Wayne should go to the waterless pool.
Wayne should just let his hose run all the time.
We learned so much today we can't even repeat it all.
Yeah, it's too much.
We just want to put it into action now.
Put it into action, yes.
What I learned is that if the home is priced
obviously a little high to put into the listing contract, that within 14 days, that it will be reduced.
Good one.
So.
All right, any other lessons? Anybody needs and wants?
I have tickets for Saturday's Kentucky Derby party for Food Link if anybody wants to buy them. They are, well, they're supposed to be 55, but I'll let you buy them for 40 if you buy them from me today. It is a really fun event. It starts at 1 o'clock. There is a bow tie contest and a fancy hat contest. Wayne is already ready.
I've got both ties available for rent or sure.
Yeah. But it is a lot of fun. It is at the Visalia Country Club, and it's for a great cause. Puts food in the bellies of children in our own backyard.
All right. Any other needs, wants, or bucket fillers? Anyone? Anyone?
Again, I wanted to thank Paul for taking my class last week very much. Very appreciated for your help. Oh, the next starting of the BRE class is slated for the first Tuesday in July, Tuesday, July 7th. So, you know, start informing your prospects or giving me their phone numbers so I can stay on them.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne. Hope to see you guys at Bunko tonight. Oh, sorry.
Well, I'll fill Bill's bucket for writing an offer for me while I was out sick this past week. And he wrote the offer, put the deal together. It was great.
Bill. All right. You guys have a good day. Go get those listings.
I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know where to start.